Hello, Stitchy friends. How is everybody doing? Today is Tuesday, September 16th, 2025. This is Flosstube number 62. My name is Andrew. This is my dog Winston, and we are the Runner Stitcher. This is my channel where I talk primarily about cross stitch and a little bit about my running journey as well. So if you are new here, welcome. I hope you enjoy what you see and really enjoy the projects and the stitching that I'm about to show. If you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much for coming back and spending a little time with me. I really appreciate it. Your support has meant a lot over the last couple of weeks as I've been moving, and so I just thank you so much for spending a little bit of time with me. It's been great to hear what you've been working on during the videos and what you've been stitching on. So thanks for coming back. I wanted to start off just by saying I am trying a brand new filming setup today. So if I seem a little off, that's probably why. I know that in the new place, like the lighting has been interesting and the video quality hasn't been the greatest lately. So I'm trying something new to see if this works. So bear with me in the next couple of weeks as we kind of figure this all out. But hopefully it'll be fine. I do have my notes over here to the side. So if you see me glancing off to the side, that's where my notes are, and that's why I'm looking over there. I wanted to start off just by saying a quick thank you to Linda, who took advantage of the Buy Me a Coffee link. Linda, thank you so much. That was such a kind note, and I really, really appreciate the gesture. Linda has been going through the process of starting with my first video and going through them all, and that's a lot because we're now at video number 62, and it's been great to hear her feedback on the videos and that she's been enjoying them. So Linda, thank you so much for taking advantage of the Buy Me a Coffee link. I really appreciate that. Let's get started. So let's jump into marathon training. So as you know, I am continuing the hashtag whip into shape, and I'm continuing it with my training for the New York City Marathon. The New York City Marathon is going to be the first Sunday in November. I think that's November 2nd this year. It's the weekend of daylight savings, so we get an extra hour, luckily, the night before the marathon to get a little bit more sleep because it will be an early morning. But all of my training is now geared towards that. So because I basically already did the full training for Australia when that didn't happen, the training program I'm following this time is a little lighter in miles. So we do have some big runs coming up because we're getting close to the race, but the total mileage is going to be a little less weekly than it was the first time around. So if you're trying to catch up, Katie, Jeremiah's mom, I know that you are trying to catch up. Don't worry, this time might be a little bit easier to keep up with it, and I hope you keep going. So far in the training, we started on September 1st. So far I've run 70 miles, and that equates to 700 stitches if you are stitching 10 stitches per mile. And the total time I've run is 10 hours, 23 minutes, and 58 seconds. So 10 hours already just in September here for this training. So that's pretty good progress already, and we've got about a month and a half to go. So we're still gonna see some decent stitching on this. My whip into shape piece is the Fruits of Plenty, and since the last time you saw it, I was able to add 467 stitches. I will pop a picture in here, I think on this side, of where I was when I started the very beginning of the whip into shape challenge, so you can see kind of the full progress. Now, as I've been working on this, I was also watching Lynn from Those Missing Stitches, and Lynn is also working on Fruits of Plenty, or at least was for the previous marathon stitching, and she's at a little bit further than me. I think she's at about 63% maybe. I think that's right, Lynn. And I'm currently sitting at 59.75%, so I'm just trailing her. And but it's been so fun to see her progress. She's gotten so much done over the last couple of months, and yeah, I hope she keeps going on it, or even with a new whip. But so Fruits of Plenty. As I said, 59.75%, 467 stitches added, and here is where I'm at now. So what did I work on this time? Pretty sure what I worked on this time was this little squirrel. I'll try to bring this in here so you can see it. This little squirrel right here. And I think I brought down some of these vines on this side, kind of bringing down that section there. I think I also put in a little bit of stitching in this light green section right here. I'm really hoping you can see all of this because my new setup doesn't allow me to see what I'm recording. So it's a little hard for me to zoom in and see what's going on. So hope you can see all of this, but that is the section I worked on. This is stitched on a 32 count vintage smoky white by Zweigart, and I'm stitching 2 strands over 2 with 2 DMC colors, and really just enjoying this piece. It's really been fun to keep going on it. This time I am a little bit ahead of the game. I think total for the month I have about 820 stitches in, as opposed to the 70 that is called for. And I'm okay with that. I'm just gonna keep going and keep up with it and keep stitching on it. So that's been really fun. And I think now I've decided what is going in this section right here. So I don't know if it'll be the next time I start that, because I will have to try to figure out how to get that chart into my markup RXP, but I think I know what I'm gonna put at least in this top one. So I can get moving on that, and then that will at least be filled in. But that is my fruits of plenty. Okay, next up we've got temperature stitching. So I was able to work on all 3 pieces for temperature stitching this week. And the first one I'm about to show you is called Stack of Pancakes. This is from SammyStitchesStore on Etsy. And hopefully you're able to see that without a glare. This is gonna be an interesting video, I think. That's what it's gonna look like. And this week it was called for 4 days, which meant 400 stitches. I'm happy to report that I was able to add in 417 stitches, which puts me at 69.11%. So very close to 70% on this one. Sorry about all of the dangling threads here, because I have been using the diagonal parking method on this piece. And here is where I'm at this time. So what I completed this time was this diagonal here. I still had a little bit to go down at the bottom. So that is now completed all the way here. And then I jumped back up and the next diagonal started about over here. There were some missing white stitches in this section, and basically just brought that all the way down to here. So definitely making good progress on this one. And yeah, it's not done on the temperature stitching chart yet, so that is good. It will keep coming out. And I have been really enjoying it. I think when you pull it back, it just looks great. The detail is really fun. It looks good. Some of these areas where the syrup is dropping that you can see, that's where the confetti really comes into play. Some of these spots here, like this area, is not quite as confetti heavy. You can see there's a little bit more block stitching, but as soon as you get into the sections of the syrup dropping, the confetti just goes crazy. So that makes it really difficult to stitch. But I have really been enjoying getting back to this, and yeah, this will come out again this week. So this is stitched on a 20 count black Aida, and I'm stitching with 2 strands of the called for DMC. So it is very thick. I can show you the back of my work. It's a very, very thick piece because I'm using the 2 strands, but I really wanted that full coverage look on this piece, especially stitching it on black. I wanted there to make sure I got the full coverage. So yeah, so that is Stack of Pancakes. I will continue working on this and keep making progress. Okay, and the next temperature stitching piece I worked on was a French rosé, and this is from Running with Needles and Scissors. And I was talking to Sarah from Sarah's Stitchy Spot because she just started this as well, so definitely go check out her channel. She's stitching it more like the original, so beautiful, beautiful floss color, and looks really great. So definitely go check out her channel to see that. We were talking about it and I said, I never know how to pronounce this because it seems like it would be called a French rose, right? Because there's a big flower in the center here. Hopefully you can see that. But there's a accent here on, like it would be rosé, which to me is wine. So I don't know why it would be called a French wine. So anyway, Sarah reached out to Sylvia, who responded and said it's kind of a play on words with the color of the floss that was used and the wine. So I think it is called a French rosé. So I will start calling it that now moving forward. Even though I'm using kind of a different tone on tone look, my colors are still in the rosé sort of family, I guess. So I think it kind of works, but that is what it's gonna look like. Again, go check out Sarah from Sarah's Stitchy Spot if you wanna see progress on this in a more traditional manner. And I think this time I actually do have a video, so I'll pop that in here of where it was when I started this week. Okay, here's my starting point for the week for French Rose. I'm really hoping this natural lighting today is sort of showcasing this a bit better than normally is shown on my videos. I'm going to zoom in here a little bit. Hopefully it doesn't get too blurry, but here is the center rose that I was working on last week. As you can see, I finished all of the letters in the alphabet up at the top, and the border is completely finished as well. So I hope to just continue working on this rose and we'll see how far I can get. And this was called for 2 days of temperature stitching, and that meant I got 213 stitches completed on this piece. So here is where it is now. Now, I have absolutely no idea what you're going to be able to see on this or where it's even at in the camera. So I apologize if this is not coming through. If it doesn't, I will probably try to put a video in of where I stitched and what I was working on. But basically in this center section here, in this flower, I worked on the side flower right in through here. So there's the main flower here at the top that was already stitched, and I basically brought this side down and over. I've got all of the letters, the alphabet done at the top, and all the border is completed. So I'm just working on that section, which has actually been kind of nice. It's been more block stitching, I guess. And yeah, so I'm using a 40 count curtain call from Lap and Loops and the colorway Velvet Rouge by Almond M&M's. That's her silk. And it's this beautiful, beautiful variegation that just really shows up very nicely on this fabric. Definitely a tone-on-tone look that I've never tried before, but in person, I really, really like how this is looking. The camera, it's always hard to show, so I'm not exactly sure what you're seeing today, but hopefully you're getting a good glimpse of what it sort of looks like. So that is a French Rosé. And the final piece for temperature stitching was my Heirloom Bear Needlepoint kit. This is from Bucilla, and I packed away the supplies already, so I don't have the cover photo, but this was only called for 1 day of temperature stitching. I got about 150 stitches in maybe. I just worked on it one evening and called it good on that, but was happy with the progress I got. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you. Basically, here is the kit, and what I worked on this time is filling in this section right up here with all these different sort of browns and yellows and grays in here. That was a lot of color changing. That's the first sort of section of color changes that I got to on this piece. And that made it a little more challenging, to be honest, but I think I'm happy with how it turned out. I also added this black sort of border that comes down here. I think I'm happy with how it turned out. It's definitely not exactly like the cover image, or it's definitely not probably following the pattern to a T. I'm still getting used to that idea in needlepoint, but I think so far it's looking pretty good, and I'm happy with it. So this will go away now because that was the last call for the Bucilla kit for Witch Whip in temperature stitching, and that means we had the poll. Now, the two choices from last week for the new Witch Whip piece were Egyptian Sampler from Teresa Wensler and Celtic Autumn from Lavender and Lace. At first I thought it was going to be a very tight race because the numbers were coming in and it was neck and neck. And then one of them sort of took the lead and just ran with it. So I think the total that came out was 78 for Celtic Autumn and 35 or 36 for Egyptian Sampler. I'll put in the totals here just so you have the numbers. But Celtic Autumn is the one that won. So here she is, and this is what will go in the new Witch Whip category. So I will begin working on her now that Heirloom Bear is completed. I'm gonna start here, probably getting into her dress will be the next thing that I work on. I think a lot of you chose this piece because we're going into autumn here in the United States, and the colors and this piece are just kind of perfect for that time of year. So I am definitely excited to get back to this and get some more progress. So you'll see this in the next week, hopefully. And thank you so much to everybody who voted. That was so nice of you just to be interacting with me in that way. And I love giving you the chance to kind of pick one of my whips and choose what I'm working on, because then you get to see what you want to see, and I get to work on a different whip. Okay, I've got 2 more whips for you. Whips are works in progress, or as someone was saying, maybe it was Pam from Just Keep Stitching, waiting in piles. That's pretty much what our whips do. They wait in piles. But the next whip I've got for you is Saga. This is from Long Dog Samplers. Here is what that is going to look like. I hope the glare is not too bad. We'll see. If it is, I'll pop in a digital picture. Saga is a piece that I'm working on pretty much every week. I started this on Leap Day in 2024, and the goal is to have it finished by Leap Day 2028. So far, I'm still on track with that, which is awesome. And I think I forgot to film a video this week, so I don't have my starting point, but I was able to add 567 stitches, and I'm now at 45.38%. So let's show you where I'm at on Saga. Okay, so here is the full thing. Hopefully I'm getting this all in the video. I'm not sure. Yeah, and now let's zoom into what I was working on. So I came in here, and this section right here, I filled in this bird. I don't think I had the berry that the bird is carrying completed. And then I started working on this column right here to get that column sort of stitched down a little further. So as you can see, that was 500 stitches. These arches are big. So I'm still not ready to get into the centerpiece yet, and probably it'll take 1 or 2 more weeks, 1 more week to bring down the column as far as I can go here, and maybe work a little bit more on this section of this final arch here. And yeah, that's where I am. So nothing too exciting this week, but soon in the next week or 2, we'll get into the next arch and be able to get to the next story. So this has been super fun. I'm stitching this on a vintage country mocha from Zweigert. This is a 36 count, and I'm stitching 1/2 with Silks for You PR 207. I absolutely love stitching with this silk. I love this piece. It's very therapeutic, and yeah, this has just been a lot of fun. So that is my quick little update on Saga. Okay, and the final whip I pulled out this week is Woodland Enchantress by Dimensions. I'll put a picture up here of what she's going to look like because my kit is sitting over there, and since Winston is on my lap, I'm not going to be moving right now. But Woodland Enchantress was one of my whip go calls for this month to get 2,200 stitches in. Once I had all of my sort of temperature stitching and Saga and whip into shape stitching done, I thought now's the time to pull this out. I was really excited to get back to her. Being in this new space, I was finally feeling settled and ready to kind of tackle a more difficult piece. So I will put a video in here of where I was when I started this week. Okay, here is my starting point for Woodland Enchantress. I'm not sure what I'm gonna work on today. Maybe I'll work a little bit on her face, or maybe I'll just continue some of the half stitches in the background over here to get all the way to the edge. But yeah, here's where it is so far. I'm gonna keep working on this today. And I was able to get a lot done on her. So total, I added 1,626 stitches. Now, a good portion of those were half stitches. I still count them. I still count my stitches to be one box, where one X goes, whether that's a half stitch, whether that's a French knot, whether that's a back stitch, I count it. Now, I actually did some back stitching on this piece, and I did not count it in my stitch count, which is fine. But I wanted to get some of it done. So anyway, 1,600 stitches is done, which means I have about 600 left to go to meet my whip go goal. I'm now at 33.57%, and I'm excited to show you my progress. So I've still got some dangling threads here because I will be working on her again, but here is what the whole piece looks like so far, and I'm super happy with this. The other inspiration with this, I'll say real quick, is Suki the Brown-Eyed Stitcher. She is here on Flosstube and also on Instagram. On Instagram, she has been posting her project, her version of this piece, and it is absolutely stunning. Seeing all of her posts lately have been giving me such motivation to work on this. I think that's part of the reason I pulled it out again. And definitely go check out her Instagram as she has completed it over the last couple of days and weeks. It is stunning. It looks fabulous, and also made me realize just how much work there is in this piece. Not just the cross stitches, but all the back stitching, the cording, the metallics. There's a lot going on, the French knots. So I have a lot of work to do even after the stitching is done, but seeing her piece definitely gave me motivation to keep working on this. So what did I work on this week specifically? Well, I worked on her skin, so I don't think I had any of her skin done here. And once that was in, I decided I'm gonna just backstitch her because I want her face to at least be showing. So hopefully you can see that pretty clearly there. But yeah, I backstitched her face. I think it looks pretty good. Definitely looks better from further away, but I am happy with how she looks. Then I decided I was going to come over this direction and see if I could get all the way to the edge, which I did. And I'm happy to show that I actually got this pretty well centered, which is surprising, considering this is the kit material, the kit fabric and everything. But about the same amount of margin on either side here. And yeah, so I was able to work all the way to the end, and I filled in some of these yellow colors, which were really fun, of her staff, and got some of the staff sort of completed here, as well as the skin colors in her hand since I was there. And then I did some backstitching on that area as well. And at the top of the little orb here, I added just one strand of the blending filament, the Kreinik that was there, because I wanted it to just have a little bit of shine. There is backstitching on top of the orb, but it wasn't really showing up, and I wanted a little bit of sparkle for that area. So you probably can't even see it in the camera, but it is there, and in person it looks really cool. So that is my progress on Woodland Enchantress. All right, and those are all the whips I have for you this week. That's all the stitching I was able to complete. It felt like a lot. It felt like I got back to sort of the swing of things and was able to make some decent progress. So I'm super happy to share that with you all today. As far as plans go, my 2 whip go goals are Woodland Enchantress, which you just saw. So I have 600 stitches to go on that to complete that goal. And the other one is Autumn is Joyful, the Quaker from Leela Studio. That is called for 700 stitches. So I definitely hope to bring that out and work on that for a little bit as well. For temperature stitching, I'll pop in a picture here of the new chart. And I think 3 days were called for Stack of Pancakes, 3 days for Celtic Autumn, and 1 day for French Rosé. So French Rosé, that 1 day actually completes the goal of 3,000 stitches for that piece in temperature stitching. And that category is the new start category. So once I complete that, then next week you can come back next week and see what I chose to be my new start. I won't start it this week, but you'll get to see the piece next week in the video, and then we'll find out how many days I get to work on that. But I am super excited for that. I don't know where my plans are gonna go in the next little while. My moving and just being in a new space and has sort of just shifted my view on plans and priorities and everything. And I'm in this mood where I feel like I just want to start everything. I've been going through the kits. I think it's because I had to unpack all the kits that I had packed up, right? And go through all the patterns that I had packed up. And seeing it all just made me want to start all of it. So I have no guarantees of what I will actually get done, but I have this urge to just start everything. We'll see. We'll see where that goes. But hopefully I can rein it in just a little bit and continue working on the whips, because I also do want to keep working on them. That's what the hardest thing is in stitching, right? There's just too many things to stitch. But I also wanted to mention that the Harvest Moon Hangout is this coming weekend, hosted by Lindy Stitches. It's an online virtual retreat, and I don't think I have any plans this weekend, so I'm going to try to attend as much as I can. I always enjoy when I go, even if I don't pop into the stitchy rooms that often, just seeing all of the interviews that they have, doing some shopping, and seeing the finish parade. I think there's one of those. You can take advantage of the whip speed dating, where you can meet someone and chat about your stitching for just 5 minutes. It's all awesome, and it's a really great platform. You can log on and do whatever you want without anybody even knowing you're there, or you can make your presence known and you can turn your camera on and join some tables and chat and stitch with people. So I am going to be there all weekend. So if you're going, definitely let me know. Maybe we can try to catch each other in a stitchy room or something. If I get to a point where I am in a stitchy room kind of openly stitching, then I will probably post that on my Instagram to let you know which room I'm in if you want to join and chat with me for a little bit. But that's always a good time, and I think it's only $15 maybe for the weekend, which is a really cheap price for a whole weekend of stitching. So I am very excited about that. That is definitely on my plans as well. And other than that, I think that's all I've got for you. So keep running if you're a runner, always keep stitching, and be kind to whoever you meet on your journey. Bye for now, until the next stitch.